Federal Bank and News 18 Network present Sanjeevani, United Against Cancer. Knowledge partner, Tata Trusts.
Hello and welcome to a special presentation of Sanjeevani, United Against Cancer, an initiative by News 18 Network, Federal Bank Hormus Memorial Foundation, Tata Trusts and Novartis. I'm your host Gautam Srinivasan, and today we're shining the light on breast cancer, the most common malignancy among women globally. Now, breast cancer surpassed lung cancer as the leading cause of the global cancer incidence in 2020, with an estimated 2.3 million new cases, which represents 11.7% of all cancer cases that year. Now, the silver lining is that medicine is also advancing as the cancer burden increases. In fact, over the years in India, the 5-year survival rate after breast cancer diagnosis has increased from approximately 40% to 60%. Now, this can be a solace to many, especially if you or your loved ones receive a diagnosis. So, as we forge ahead in this journey of raising awareness and inspiring action, let me invite our esteemed panelists to share their insights and thoughts on this topic. A round of introductions starting with Mrs. Usha Madhukar, patient advocacy leader and breast cancer patient. Also with her is Dr. Baman Thabar, Director of Oncology at Fortis Hospital in Mumbai. Our lineup also features Dr. Sevanthi Limaye, Director of Medical and Precision Oncology at the Sir H.N. Reliance Foundation Hospital. And finally, we have with us Kevin Zhu, Head of Asia Aspiring Markets Cluster, Pharma International at Novartis. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us in this wide-ranging conversation, which is necessary in the times that we are in today. So let's begin the conversation by first looking at where we are. Dr. Dabar, I'll come to you first. The statistics which I stated earlier, 2.3 million new cases in 2020, 11.7% of the total pie. So I want to first start with you and get your thoughts on what do you think has led to this increase, first of all, the key reasons behind it, and at what stage are patients getting diagnosed, in your opinion?
When I started my practice, say, approximately 25 years ahead, it was totally a different scene that we used to see. What we used to see in practice, approximately 90% of our patients would come to us in stage 4. And there we would be thinking just how to palliate them, how to improve their quality of life. But now, in the last maybe about 5 to 10 years, what I am seeing, approximately 40% of my patients come to me in an early stage. By early stage, what we mean that we are trying to give them that type of treatment where we are aiming at a cure. So, this is called as adjuvant therapy or the neoadjuvant therapy. So, our aim is to cure such patients. So, there is a vast difference that we have seen in last 20 years, what I have seen in my practice. The first question that you asked me, what is leading to this high incidence? Well, nobody knows the exact cause of breast cancer, but of course, it is attributed to your lifestyle changes. Why we see in urban areas much more than the rural. Physical activity, putting on weight, your dietary habits, your alcohol, all those habits, sedentary type of life. These are one of the main causes, or I would say attributing factors to breast cancer. But what is more alarming right now in India, I would say the incidence of breast cancer in the younger females. The median age of breast cancer in Indian population is 49 years, whereas compared to the West, it is 62 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, this high incidence, what is the reason? And this lifestyle changes in a premenopausal lady does not hold good. What I told you is for postmenopausal ladies. Weight gain, and those are not good for the breast at all. So, what is this cause? Maybe our demographics say that more than 50% of our population, I would say rather 70% of our population is below the age of 50. Indian statistics say that. So, maybe this is a compounding cause of high incidence in the younger females.
All right. Dr. Limaye, let me bring you in, because as Dr. Rabar discussed, the incidences are going up. We don't know what the cause is, but look at it from the patient perspective. The necessity for screening therefore comes in. So the question to you is, what are the necessary steps required to change people's behavior towards screening? Because what happens is sometimes the idea might be, oh, this is a disease which happens to others, or, ignorance is bliss. The moment you do a screening, you see a diagnosis in front of you, your life changes. So there's a whole lot of fear factor which is built into people. So how do you change that behavior so that screening becomes a normal part of everyone's sort of health regimen? Do it once a year or so on and so forth. Your thoughts on that, and how do we break the barriers in a sense and bring screening to people's doorstep? Your thoughts on that, Dr. Limay?
So I think we will have to reverse the way we approach screening. Screening is approached as a choice. Screening is approached as an option. Screening is not approached yet as a mandatory requirement by all, everyone around you. So this, I feel, needs awareness from the society. You need to have a revolution where you go to the masses and you raise awareness to the amount that every other person asks the other person, have you been screened this year? Because this is such a requirement. And it has to be a movement that has to be owned by the people. It has to be by the people, for the people. It has to be a revolutionary movement.
A grassroots
it has to be
movement.
A grassroots movement that has to be owned by the masses. It cannot come down from the regulators. But the regulators, of course, have to participate. I think if you look at the amount of expenditure that the country has to do in treating their patients and figuring out the solution and improving outcomes after the fact, if you had to put the same sum in screening, you would save many more lives, you would save them better, and you would impact the healthcare outcomes in a magnanimous way you cannot even imagine.
That's true. It needs to be a revolution from the ground up, where it's a mission on part of the government and the people to address this head on, rather than keep it as something which develops over time in the healthcare infrastructure overall. All right, we have the experts who have shared their opinion, Dr. Dabur and Dr. Limay. I want to now focus on a real journey, a real experience to be shared in this regard. Usha, let me bring you into this conversation. You're a patient advocacy leader and you've been a survivor yourself. So take us through your journey that you've gone through, and what would you change as times have also changed?
When I was maybe around 2014 or so, I knew something was wrong with me because I had developed an abscess on my foot, and then I had a hacking cough. I knew I had to get tested, but I kept postponing it. Though I am an educated and very well aware of everything, I postponed it. So we made up our minds, we met the doctor. I had an inkling that it would be cancer because I have read up all about the symptoms and such things. So when the doctor just checked out on me, he said, mostly it would be stage 4 metastatic cancer, breast cancer. But anyway, let's get it tested. So I went through all the tests. It was confirmed. He said, when would you like to start the treatment? I said, immediately. I did not want to waste a day after that. Very next day, I got admitted into the hospital, started my treatment. Luckily for me, advanced medications were available. I was not hesitating on the amount that was going to be spent on medication. I said, I want the best. So I started off on the best of treatments. The doctors were very helpful in explaining the entire procedure to me. Every step of the way, what would happen with each medicine was explained to me. I faced it head on. And I said, let me take the journey as it is. I suggest to even now, I suggest to anybody whom I meet, get yourself screened. You can do it at home yourself. It is just a checking of your own breasts. Nobody needs to do it for you. Don't fear the word cancer. Cancer is treatable. Cancer is curable. And you can have a good life. It is not the end of the world.
I think that's an important message.
It is
the
not,
fear psychosis
yes.
needs to go away, that this is end of the
Very
road.
true.
It is manageable, it is treatable. I think that needs
Cancer by itself is a very scary word, but we have to learn to face it. We have to. Otherwise, there is no way forward.
Well, we've got the experience of a survivor, and that comes true from the heart, and it's great that the message comes across to all of you. to not fear it at the outset, but to deal with it. And I also want to speak to the medical warriors, in a sense, who provide the tools to take this battle head on. So, Kevin, let me bring you into it, because Novartis is at the forefront of innovation in terms of breast cancer treatment. But as an organization, the question is always that, we hear all these radical treatments or great treatments, and we wonder, is it going to be available in India or emerging markets? And you have made that possible. So take us through how you make that possible to make sure that the latest and best innovations, especially when it comes to breast cancer treatment, are available to Indian emerging markets.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I want to build on what she said. Cancer is treatable. Cancer is manageable. If you look back the last few decades, there has been tremendous progress in medicine. A lot of innovative medicine now become available, and even in India. When you really think about the access of those innovative medicine in India, in any emerging market, it really comes down to three things. Number one is the knowledge about this drug in the context of Indian healthcare system. The second one is how to use the knowledge to make evidence-based decision to treat patients more properly. The third one is how to make sure that the affordability is being addressed. So go to the first one, the data generation. In Novartis, we really start generating data in the clinical trials. We include more patients, a broad range of patients in the clinical trial, with the hope to generate data that is relevant for oncologists when they make decisions. And we don't just stop there. We continue phase 4 trials and other trials after it's being approved to generate real-world evidence, with the hope using those data to lead to evidence-based medicine decision-making, to transfer from opinion-based to evidence-based, to transfer from episode-based healthcare to wellness-oriented healthcare. So with those transformations, we're hoping to improve patient care and cancer care. Lastly, about the affordability, at Novartis, what we're doing is we're creating platform. One of the example is the patient access navigator platform. The platform composing of a lot of financial information, including private, state, or federal government information, healthcare financing solutions, so the patient can look at those options and decide what is best for them.
That's fantastic, and it's great to see the use of data in terms of enabling affordability and accessibility, and looking at it from an outcome perspective rather than a sort of a theoretical extract. All right, thank you so much, Kevin. You made a very important point around that holistic approach by the healthcare ecosystem towards breast cancer management. Essentially, we need to catch it early and ensure that patients have access to the most suited treatment option that could increase their survival rates and help them live fuller lives. Well, it's time for a short break, and in our next section, we will delve deeper on the holistic management of breast cancer through a multi-stakeholder perspective. In a nutshell, let's discuss living with breast cancer. Stay tuned.
Federal Bank and News 18 Network present Sanjeevani, United Against Cancer. Knowledge partner, Tata Trusts.
Welcome back to Sanjeevani, United Against Cancer, where we are discussing the management of breast cancer with a wide-ranged and esteemed panel. Welcome back, everyone. Usha, let me resume the conversation thread where we were at. You described in the last segment about the journey that you managed, but there's something also about the image that folks have, right? The fear is what you discussed. But when we look at the image, the perception rather of what a breast cancer patient would look like, when I look at you, I do not see any signs, right? And I think that's an important point to address for a lot of our viewers, that the image that you have of this disease is far removed from reality. Could you share some thoughts on that?
First up, look at yourself in the mirror. Do you want to see a patient, or do you want to see a happy, smiling self? Cancer does have its side effects. Your hair falls. You look sickly, but you have to put on a little bit of makeup so that when you look at yourself, you can smile and say, I'm feeling fine. It's as simple as that. You wake up to a smiling face, your day stays positive. This is the first main thing that you do. Second, eat well. Take your medications on time. Have a little bit of exercise. There's no need to run 40 kilometers just because you have to. How much you can, do that much. Have a healthy, balanced life. Do things that you love to do. Maybe it's traveling, maybe it's listening to music, maybe it's talking to friends. Do whatever you like, but make yourself feel happy inside. Once you feel happy inside, it translates to a better life. There are side effects for the medicines. You have to learn to manage. You have to listen to people on how to manage. I've had friends who have had, and you have to get yourself tested. You have to get yourself screened. If your doctor tells you, if your oncologist tells you 1 year you have to get it, you should go. If you have any discomfort in between, go tell your doctor. He will know what to do. We don't know what to do to ourselves. You follow that, you can live a healthy and good life.
All right, a message of hope coming from Usha. Dr. Dabar, let me get you in as a veteran in this field. We need that message of reassurance from you as well. So, stories of success and hope, especially as we have discussed earlier, breast cancer is not a death sentence. So, do share with us some of the stories that you have encountered which gives hope to the viewing audience.
There was one lady whom we had used most of our drugs, and it was like her life was about to end. Most of them had given up. So, that was one of the patients before the advances that have occurred. It was just an oral tablet what we gave. Of course, every individual is different. That lady responded so well to that what we call as oral metronomic chemotherapy. She could lead a very good quality of life. She started walking, working around. Her daughter got married. She took part in that marriage. I saw her dancing in that. So, I was really very happy to see that.
Great to hear them getting back to normal life and leading a normal life, but also them taking the initiative to get themselves diagnosed and treated properly. That's a core part of this process. All right, Dr. Lemay, to take this point forward, cancer is not cancelled, right? But we are humans. There will always be fears, especially during the times of diagnosis. There is the fear of recurrence. There is a fear of lymphoedema. How do you deal with these fears? Because we as humans will have, no matter how many times we hear the message, there will still be an intrinsic fear, especially during that time of diagnosis. How do you deal with that fear?
Despite all adversities, these patients have continued. They have fought back. There is immense power in human mind, and I have complete faith in that. I came into oncology not because of the science of oncology, but because of the spirit of oncology. And that spirit tells you that we fight back despite the worst. When we think of recurrence, it is the fear that takes over us. When we think of recurrence and it overwhelms us, it is self-defeatist. So we have to fight against that psychologically. And we have to let science come as our savior. Let science help guide what can be done in today's times to prevent the recurrence. So the first thing that has to be done is we have to do our homework well. We have to get screened. We have to take the latest technology in screening, whether it's mammogram, whether it's that ultrasound that is coming, whether it's the liquid biopsy, whatever it is to get screened early, get screening to the masses. Early detection saves lives. When we come to treatment, we have to complete the treatment, do our homeworks well, so that then the chances of recurrence are least. Always be an advocate for yourself. Step up and ask the right questions to the doctor. There are certain advanced technologies floating in the recurrence follow-up strategies. Again, I'm a big proponent of advanced concepts, and liquid biopsies are being utilized now to screen and help with surveillance of recurrence. They are very, very sensitive. So get to the advanced technology, do the best screening possible if you can. At least do the routine follow-ups that are required, that are more established. And don't fear the word. And I'll end just with recognizing the word with which the initiative we are participating in, Sanjeevani. What a word to describe this initiative. Believe in that. There is a life after cancer. There is a life after, even if you are not cured, living with cancer is a reality today. There are novel drugs. Seek them. Seek the best care. Not fear the the disease, not fear the label, and associate cancer with cure, not cancer with death.
Those are powerful words. Take charge of your life, take charge of your condition, and trust the process, considering where we are in the innovations landscape. Kevin, as we wrap up this discussion, I want to bring you in and get your thoughts on the fact that you've worked across geographies. So, in your opinion, the 3 critical interventions which are necessary when it comes to breast cancer management in India, what would you say?
I would say the first one, the most important part, is really to ignite and inspire the community. That knowing that cancer is treatable, cancer is manageable, cancer can be defeated with proper diagnosis, proper treatment. The second one I'd probably say is healthcare financing. If I look at India, the spend on healthcare clearly is not adequate. However, we can't really throw money to solve the problem. That's not solvable. The third one I would say is healthcare delivery. And when you look at India, such a vast, diverse country, the healthcare system need to be able to really reach the most remote areas. So, and this is where the technology can play a role. And I'm very encouraged to see the uptick of the teleconsultation, telemedicine, telehealthcare are moving to that direction. The technology also play another important role, is to allow us to track, monitor, understand the outcome. Go back to the early points of the whole system, look at the outcome. And the outcome will help play back into the policymaker, play back, help the physicians, healthcare system make better decisions.
All right, with that, we come to the end of this special episode of Sanjeevani United Against Cancer. A heartfelt thank you to all of our panelists for sharing their thoughts and insights on the topic. And to you, the viewer, let's remain informed, vigilant and supportive in our collective journey to combat breast cancer. And in case you're diagnosed, don't be afraid and speak to your doctor about the best care that you can get. Let's take a pledge to get screened for cancer regularly. So stay safe and stay aware. Thank you so much for joining us for this special presentation. I'm your host Gautam Srinivasan, signing off.
Federal Bank and News 18 Network present Sanjeevani United Against Cancer. Knowledge partner Tata Trusts.